How long would it take me to do a metal scream with no experience?
To my edge, you broke my wrist and scorched my skin. How can I let you in? That depends on you. It depends on how hard you want it, I guess. If you did it every day, maybe 6 months to a year, but you gotta make sure you're not hurting yourself.
Hey Casey, what's
Hi, how
up?
are you? What's going on?
I'm going great. How about yourself?
I'm going good. I'm excited for this.
Awesome. Likewise. Thank you for joining me. I've actually been hanging out, listening to an advanced copy of the EP here, just rocking out all day. So I've been having a great day over here myself.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Definitely. So for you, talk to me about sort of the process after you drop an album and while you're doing the press. Are you going back and reviewing the materials, or is it like you have to give yourself some space from the project while you're out there sort of pitching it?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're pretty much just working on our live set for tour. So we're definitely still heavily involved in the EP and listening to it and digesting it and um it's nothing too crazy that I feel like we're like, oh my God, we're all in this right now, but we definitely like don't feel that we need any space from it. But when we first finished it, I feel like I did need to kind of like distance myself from it, only because I want to make sure I have fun on tour, singing these every single day for X amount of years, you know? So that's what I think.
Is that part of the creative process in a way? Because when you're crafting this material, I mean, you're not just thinking about in the moment. You are, inevitably thinking about years from now, at least if you want to have longevity, which obviously you guys do. So is that a conscious thought, or do you have to keep that out of your mind while you're making the music?
I think it's like in the back of my mind for sure because I when we're writing, you want to make sure that you're happy with the entirety of the song. And of course, like when there's multiple people working on a song, sometimes there's parts that like let's say I wanted a part and somebody didn't like that part and then they came up with a part and I didn't like that part, like that's why you have to constantly be brainstorming new ideas that are unique to all of you. You know, it shouldn't just be we're going to pick that person's part or that person's part or whatever. It should be what's best for the song. And I think if you work like that and you understand like this is the best thing for the song, then you're going to have longevity regardless.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I really like about you guys' music in general, but especially this latest EP, 7 EP, is just the fusion of different types of music. There's so much going on in the best way. And it made me wonder, when you guys are sitting down to craft a song, obviously it's different for every song, but usually how does it go in terms of structure? Is it a lyric that comes first? Is it a riff? Like how do you guys really start putting that puzzle together when there's so much to bring together?
Yeah, so honestly, it depends on what we're feeling that day when we're writing. However, I feel like I write my best when I create a melody and then attach lyrics to it, and then we build off of that. Because essentially, if you have an instrumental, a lot of the times you're locking yourself off to just the open air of ideas. Um, think of it as like, you have a canvas that's this big and you want to paint this immaculate picture. If you only have a canvas that's this big, like you're not going to have a lot of space. But if you have the entire world as your canvas, whether that be the side of a building or something like that, you can expand off of your ideas so much more and make them so much grander in that.
Okay, so really leaving it open to progress because yeah, I could imagine if you're locked into an instrumental that's 3.5 minutes and it's a specific type of way that doesn't really give you much breathing room.
Exactly. Exactly.
Interesting. So have you, I mean, I would imagine you have experimented though with writing to instrumentals that are preset.
Oh, of course, all the time. I mean, again, like it depends on the song, it depends on what we're feeling that day. If we feel like we have like a super sick riff that we can build off of course we're gonna use it. Um, I just prefer the open end of writing. I guess I should say like more so if I'm trying to go like the emotional route and like really dig deeper into the feelings because you just have so much more to say when it's an open-ended idea rather than something that you're locked into. Um, but I mean, if there's a good riff, if there's a good rhythm, like of course we're gonna use it. It just goes back to what works best for the song.
Do you have to have that kind of open mind in order to be successful in this business? Because I feel like a lot of people, especially today, they're looking for formulas, whether it's for, writing music or becoming successful on social media. It's always about, a formula. But I feel like the most successful people, they seem to just do it based on what is called for in that moment. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you have so many examples of being able to express themselves openly and not confine themselves, whether that be to a genre or anything of the sorts. Like the biggest artist right now, Sleep Token. Sleep Token is huge at the moment, and they're genreless. They don't lock themselves off. They have R&B, they have metal, they have pop, they have Latin beats. Like they have literally everything in their discography, and that's why they're one of the biggest bands in the world. It's because they open up their ideas to things. Spirit Box, a very progressive band, I would say, like they have this song called A Haven with Two Faces, and it's so progressive, but it has like so many different genres encompassed in it. And just that whole album, Tsunami Sea, like so many things. Even Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse, like he has so many genres going on. Seeing Queen has so many genres going on, and the best artists are able to just be creative because that's what this job is. It's essentially just being as creative as possible and turning what is in your brain into digestible art. And so when you feel like you have no limits to that and you feel like you can think freely, like that's where the best ideas come about. Like be a leader, not a follower, you know?
Exactly. Which it seems like it's so much harder nowadays because I just feel like social media makes people into followers. I don't know if you could speak to this because obviously you have a big presence on socials as well. But, is it hard to kind of keep going and pushing and breaking the mold even when you see so much, specific formula? Or is that just your innate nature? Like you were always doing your thing no matter what?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's always going to be hard to break the mold. It's really hard to reinvent the wheel so many times, you know. But I think on social media specifically, it's so easy to fall into a trend and succumb to everything that the chronically online will make you. But I think if you are being authentically yourself and putting your ideas out there and just ultimately being you, then you really can't go wrong.
For sure. So you started with social media really picking up around 2022, right?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to us about that. I know that you really started to blow up off of covers. Was this something that you were aiming for to blow up on socials, or did you just start to blow up and said, "Okay, let me run with this"?
Yeah, it was the latter.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared for it. As much as I like wanted to be a singer or I guess a vocalist in a metal band, like I didn't think it was like a real thing that could happen. I was like, no, this isn't possible. Like, it's just a hobby. It's always gonna be a hobby, and that's fine. I just wanted it in my life. And then, when everything started happening, I was like, oh, so this is no longer a hobby then. That's awesome. And then it just spiraled into what it is now.
That's really cool. I mean, I feel like there's an authenticity about that though that is kind of palpable to the viewer because there's so many people, again, we've talked about it a couple times, the methodical nature of creators today. Do you think that gives you an edge in a way of actually being able to remain authentic?
I think so. I mean, I since the beginning, I've always tried to be very transparent about myself and I never want people to think that I'm just putting on a facade or that I'm not trying to just live out my best life and most authentic life. And honestly, like the reason I do that is just because I hope people do the same. Like I don't see the sense of portraying yourself a certain way that you are unhappy with. If you're happy with the way that you're portraying yourself, by all means. Um, but like again, the best artists and the most successful people are just authentically them, and I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you aren't being authentically yourself.
I completely agree. So let's jump into the music for a little bit because, speaking of authenticity, it shines through on 7 EP. Maybe looking at a track like More, obviously a super heavy track. I might even have to ask you before I go into my initial question, how did you guys get the bass and the low end on that track so heavy? That's my little side question because it just smacks you right in
Oh,
the face.
honestly, that was all Brandon Rodriguez. He also goes by Muffins. He's a producer and he is absolutely insane. Like he is actually in a band called Strayview. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're fantastic. They've been on Octane like nonstop. But
Nice.
he is an incredible producer and that's all him. I don't know his secrets though. I wish I could tell you.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But I mean, you guys delivered on your end. So, maybe if you can tell us a little bit about the lyrical content in this song opening up and where you guys really took it for this track.
Absolutely. So, this one, I don't know if I want to say the sin, because of course it's the whole album is Seven Deadly Sins themed. I guess I will. So this one is gluttony, and rather than writing about, engorging yourself, I feel like that was A, like very difficult and also not super relatable, in the sense that like there's so many other things we could talk about. And one thing that I am very close to, or two things, is addiction and eating disorders. And I essentially feel like you can be addicted to your eating disorder because it's a habit, right? So essentially, this is the song basically about just selfishly indulging on things that are going to destroy you in the long run and just destroy your life. Like not only just yourself, but everything around you and honestly, like one of the lyrics in there, it says, corrode your soul for something selfishly indulged. And what I meant by that is you are essentially like deteriorating from the inside out, off of something that is so, whether it be like surface level, like the eating disorders, or addiction, it's just to fill that need and that void, that will essentially just kill you from the inside out. Um, and the chorus, like I think the epitome of that song is, if you take away the shame, could you face what's underneath? Meaning if I take away all the heinous actions I might be doing, destroying myself via just binge eating or the opposite, starving myself. And then also like taking these drugs, like whether I'm stealing money to get these drugs, you have all of these things that affect you and yourself and just your soul as a being. Like even just on the higher plane, if you're spiritual like that. Um, but essentially like destroying yourself for something that is so inhumane, I guess, is just the epitome of that song, and we just really wanted to show the ugly side of it because it's not talked about nearly enough, I feel, as it should be.
I think it's fascinating too, the way that you went about it, because yeah, I think you understood that each issue is unique to each individual who goes through it. There will be people who relate, but it may not have that mass relatability. But what does have the mass relatability is what you're talking about, whether it's eating, whether it's drinking, whether it's drugs. It is that, like you said, destroying yourself for something inhumane. That is something very relatable. So, did you find that that was kind of a theme with this whole project? You had to look outside of just your own symptoms and maybe talk in a more general sense for people.
I think for some of the songs, yes. A lot of the songs I did definitely like look inward. Like for me, I'm very prideful. So pride was definitely very reflective to write, I guess I could say.
Hmm.
But as far as like outside forces, I think sloth was one of the outsider forces, and I feel like greed was one of the outside forces as well, because I myself don't feel like I'm a greedy person. I'm sure there's people that will disagree, but um, I myself, like, I try to be very giving, and so I was like, well, what's been something that will piss us all off and really show the ugly side of greed? And I came at it from two standpoints because I try and hit like a bunch of different angles, like whack-a-mole, I guess.
Right.
But I said number one, the government,
Mhm.
always enemy number one, like in everybody's mind, I'm sure. Um, and also just the materialistic, Louis Vuitton bags, all the luxury designers. But it's also, it's not just like having luxury things for yourself. It's the sense of like I have something that you don't. Like
Right.
yeah. So one of the lyrics in there is I have everything to exploit your heartbreak. So
Mm.
that kind of points the finger at like just because I have everything is not enough. I have to have everything that you don't.
Mm.
Um, be that like the toxic influencer culture that we have, and just in the sense of like you could probably think of a million different people that, go to these extravagant houses and show these super awesome cars, and like none of it matters when you're dead inside. No, literally not a single thing matters, especially if you're actually gonna die. Like there's
Mm.
nothing to it. It's not like you can take these things with you. You could bury yourself with all the gold, the crowns, the jewels in the world, and still I bet you didn't fill the void in your soul. So, I think
Do you
that
feel
about sums
like,
it up.
yeah, no, that's an incredible way to sum it up. I mean, do you feel like being in this world of social media, entertainment, music, are you more surrounded by some of these negatives, or is it just a symptom of the world we're in today? Whereas somebody who's not even in the business will encounter just as much, do you think?
Yeah, I honestly, I think it's just the world of today because, you can see different things just based off your algorithm alone. If I searched up puppies and kitties are going to come up on my For You page. Um, and so if you're searching up all these rich people, of course these things are going to show up. But also like if you walk around in, let's say New York City or LA, like one of those bigger cities, like you'll see all these things, all the like the Louis Vuitton store, the giant bag, like, and it just shows so much materialism, just to put it blankly, and it's everything's an advertisement, everything is a money grab. It's all just a symptom of today's economy, today's climate, I feel. Um, and I would hope it go away soon, but technology is just getting better, so I can't imagine that it would, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's hard to really call that, but at the same time, it seems like people, I would say like, 35 and under, 30 and under, like that kind of generation seems to be at least more hungry for something real. Because I think a lot of us have had this, materialistic, force-fed reality for so long that maybe people are starting to snap back out of it. At least that's the way I could kind of see it.
I love that you said that because that gives me hope.
There you go. That's a good takeaway to have. So obviously practicing for the tour, and getting some of these new songs ready. Maybe let's take it back to some of the past shows or things that you've done in the past. What was a song that you guys have done that you were really surprised by the reaction your first time bringing it out?
Oh my gosh. So our song Dead Weight, like, gets everybody moving instantly, no matter what. It is just a hype song. And that was the song on Sentence of Myself where we were like, this is cool. We'll put it on. We don't really care about it though. Like, there was never really like that much of intention behind it. And the fact that it happened to be such a hitter live, especially, like, I wouldn't even say like the streams reflect it that much either, but everybody gets up for Deadweight. And also, they're singing the words, they're singing the chorus. And The hook on it is you can fall onto your knees and pull your own dead weight, go. And the amount of people that I could just put the mic out and have people sing it, and it's so crazy because that's like the last song that we had ever expected for that to happen to.
That is so cool. I mean, for you, do you really look forward to playing, festivals or your own headline shows? Obviously, you're going to look forward to all of it, but which ones are you, really looking back on with the most fondness as time goes on?
Oh man, I mean it depends. Like they're so different for such good reason. Like the headline shows are so intimate and so sick because these are people that really came out and had the intention to see you. And they could have done anything else with their time, but they chose to buy a ticket, buy merch, and sing along to just wherever we are. And the craziest part, I think, is the fact when we are going out into places that we've never been to, not even close, like there's still people that show up. Whether it's 10 or 100, like it's still just so mind-boggling that these people came out and spent their hard-earned money to come see us, and it's amazing. And then the festivals I think are just adrenaline rushes to begin with, just because they're, you know, it's just a sea of people that you can't even see the end of. Um, so when we're playing those festivals, those people, of course, also have so many other options at that festival that they could be at, and they chose to come see us, and it's incredible. Um, And I think the festivals definitely just get crazy because people are just wanting to have fun. And as an artist, like you absolutely feed off of that. And it's just a super cool feeling, but I love them both. I think festivals would probably be my favorite only because, you have both the diehard fans and the new fans just coming and uniting and wanting a good time. But the headline shows will always have a place in my heart, of course.
Of
So.
course, definitely. Nothing but highlights there. So, maybe if we took it back to the beginning for you, how exactly did you start vocally? Was it, that you very much started singing, or were you working on the screaming at first?
So vocally, I used to first, I mean, I was in probably, I think, third grade chorus in school. So like I would sing like the school songs or whatever. Never took it seriously. And then I just remember I would sing with the mic on Guitar Hero because you'd have the mic for Guitar Hero. I would sing and like try to play guitar at the same time. I would hook the mic into my ceiling and just have it like hang down. Um, but also I would play video games just like sitting in my bed listening to Ariana Grande and Avenged Sevenfold simultaneously. What a combo.
Yeah,
But
what a combo.
yeah. And so I was just singing very casually until metal just took like a huge forefront in my life. There was just like some sort of shift in me where I was like, no, this is awesome. Like I want to learn how to scream and so I just remember I would take my Bluetooth speaker that was probably about like a little bigger than a water bottle and I would pretend that it was a microphone. I would gallivant around my room pretending I was putting on the sickest set ever, like just singing at Asking Alexandria. And so in doing that, like I taught myself how to scream. And I was just like pitch matching, and just trying to sound as best like the artist on the speaker as possible. And then couple that with like David Benitez at the Extreme Vocal Institute, his tutorials, Jared Dines, his tutorials, anything I could find. I was just trying to feed myself and gain more knowledge on screaming as possible, and then it just took over.
So, how long would it take me to do a metal scream with no experience?
Oh, that depends on you. It depends on how hard you want it, I guess. Um, because it like I've been doing it for probably eight. 8-ish years now, I think. Um, and you have to be very dedicated to it. Essentially, like your vocal cords are a muscle and you have to work them out and you have to get them accustomed. It's muscle memory at that point, you know. Um, that's why like any vocalist you see, like they could just turn it on and off because their muscles know exactly what they're doing. So I would probably say if you did it every day, maybe 6 months to a year, but you got to make sure you're not hurting yourself.
Wow, that's a long time though. So can anybody do it, or do you think it's like an acquired thing?
I think anybody can do it, but they have to dedicate a lot of time to it. It's a skill. Like
Yeah.
you could say anybody can draw, but like it takes a long time to hone in on that skill. Skateboarding is the same way. Swimming even is the same way, I would say. Like if you want to be good at something, you just have to put time and effort and work it out.
Wow. Okay. So I guess we have to schedule one for 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, and then I'll give you the update on my metal scream if I stick with it.
Got it. Yeah, let's do it.
Real quick, I just wanted to know Nita Strauss, obviously somebody that you've been out there with and collaborated with. Nita's incredible. I've got the pleasure to interview her as well. How did you guys connect? And maybe if you could speak on that touring relationship.
Absolutely. So when we first started talking, she had told me that she was looking for a vocalist, and she was like, "Okay, so I'm." She asked her content person, who is Anna Massard. She is absolutely phenomenal, the best at everything. And so she asks Anna, who is also Wage War's content person, and she's like, "Hey Anna, like, I'm looking for a vocalist. Do you know anybody?" And Anna's like, "Well, I don't really know anyone, but I mean, I've seen this girl on Instagram and she's like pretty sick. She covers a lot of Wage War stuff. She could scream, she could sing, she could do whatever." And so Nita's like, "Yep, I want her." And so I remember I was sitting in the middle of a hair salon about to get my hair blown out. And I just happened, I never get my hair blown out. So I was like, might as well. So I'm in this hair salon and I just get this DM from Hurricane Nita. And I'm like, there is no way I just got a DM from the Nita Strauss. There's no way. I didn't open it because I didn't want to seem desperate. So I looked at my phone. I was like, and then I put it down for an hour. I got my hair done, and then I got in my car and I raced over to where my now boyfriend, his internship was. And so I run up to him and I'm like, Nita Strauss just DM'd me. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I want to open it with you. So we open it and it's her being like, "Hey, like I love your stuff. I think you are so cool. Would you be interested in touring together? Because I have my solo project. We do stuff with David Draymond, Dorothy, Lizzie Hale. Like we have a new album and it's just, we want to have you out." And I was like floored. I the fact that we have this icon reaching out to me, which I was like, I had a little bit of a social media following, but I had no touring experience whatsoever. I haven't
Right.
even toured with Deadlands at this point.
Right. So you
So,
weren't expecting a call like that at this stage in your game, but it was awesome to get, of course.
exactly. And so immediately I was like, holy crap, of course, like I would love to. And then we just started with an audition process. I was just sending them some clips and everything that I sounded like, and they were like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you." And the rest is history. I mean, they're like family to me, Josh and Nita. I love them so much. And actually, I'm stealing their guitarist for the Scene Queen tour, Johnny Young, and he's also
Hey.
just fantastic. Love him to death too.
That's so cool. No, I love the fact that you guys could connect so organically like that. And I mean, it's so cool to see people too. just so active in the scene right now. I know there was all this weird conversation about the future of rock and metal, especially 10 years ago. It seemed to be a big topic, and it seems to me now that there's so many people carrying that flag that it's not even a question. I mean, when I think about 10 years of metal, 10 years from now, I think of it strong and healthy with people like you guys at the forefront.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, yeah, just I feel like there's been an influx with social media of just new fans, and I'm all for it. I think as long as you are having a good time, you respect everybody around you, please, please, with open arms, join us. Like I can't stress that enough because guess what? If the genre's doing well, the artists are doing well, and if the artists are doing well, the fans are doing well, and it's a win-win for everybody, and I think we need as many people as humanly possible in this genre.
Yes. I could not have said it better myself. We want to let everybody know that the 7 EP is going to be dropping on June 27th on Spine Farm Records. Make sure to go and click the link in the description down below. Connect with Deadlands. We have all the links for you guys. And Kasey, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm really excited for people to hear the project. What do you want to let the people know as you guys get ready to release it?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast.
Thank you.
And I guess I don't know. I want people to just reflect inward when they listen to it and see how they can relate. And also, hopefully I'll see them on tour with Scene Queen.